Dear participants, greetings. I welcome all of you to this particular lecture, that is lecture number 5 of module number 6, entitled Nutrients and Their Functions in Farm Animals. So what is the meaning of nutrient? To start with, the definition of the nutrient is that the specific component of food or feed that nourishes the body. So here the term food is generally used for humans, whereas the feed is used in context of animals or livestock. So what are the types of nutrients we have in animal nutrition? So majorly nutrients are divided into two broader categories. One is known as macronutrients, second one is known as micronutrients. So macronutrients include carbohydrates, protein and fats. Whereas micronutrients, as the name itself indicates, they are required in minor quantity, include minerals, vitamins, feed additives as well as supplements. So before going to the role and requirements of nutrients as such, let us understand the basics of animal nutrition. So that is ration and balanced ration. So what is the meaning of ration? So ration is defined as the amount of feed that is fed to the animal in a period of 24 hours. So which is also known as diet. So second component is balanced ration. So which is defined as a ration which supplies the various nutrients in such proportions as will properly nourish a given animal when fed in proper amounts for a period of 24 hours. So that is known as balanced ration. So among macronutrients, so first and foremost nutrient in a ration or a balanced ration is carbohydrates. So what is carbohydrate? So carbohydrate by definition, these are the substances having carbon, hydrogen and oxygen constituting more than 70% of the ruminant ration. So in other words, we can say that the carbohydrates represent the single largest entity of the nutrients in a balanced ration. So broadly, carbohydrates are of two types. One is known as fibrous carbohydrates, which includes neutral detergent fiber and acid detergent fiber. So neutral detergent fiber is also known as cell wall constituents comprising of cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin. So typically the neutral detergent fiber of the ruminant ration ranges between 30 to 36% of the ration, whereas acid detergent fiber comprising of cellulose and lignin constitute about 20% in the diet of the ruminants. Another component of carbohydrate is non-fibrous carbohydrate or non-structural carbohydrate, so that is starch, so which typically comprises of 15 to 28% in the diet of ruminants. So how carbohydrates are utilized in the rumen? So if we see that fermentative digestion of carbohydrates in the rumen produces volatile fatty acids as the principal end products, so which are produced to the extent of 4 to 6 liter in a cattle on daily basis. So the composition of VFAs, if you see, the largest proportion of the VFA is represented by acetic acid to the extent of 65%. And in addition to acetic acid, we also have butyric acid, so in very negligible concentration of 5 to 10%. Put together, we call acetic acid and butyric acid as non-glucogenic volatile fatty acids, which are essential for milk fat synthesis in dairy cows. On the other hand, propionic acid, whose concentration is at 20 to 25% in the rumen, is classified under glucogenic VFA, which is essential to increase milk yield in dairy cows. So in a typical dairy ration, so forage based diets generally produce more acetic acid concentration in the rumen, whereas concentrate based diets generally favor more propionic acid synthesis in the rumen. In addition to volatile fatty acids, we also have undesirable end product of carbohydrate fermentation, that is methane, emitted in the ruminant stomach, that is in the rumen, which is a potent greenhouse gas associated with livestock farming. What are the sources of carbohydrates for ruminants? So first and foremost is forages, that is green forage followed by dry forage or dry fodders, And next one is cereal grains. So cereal grains supply starch, whereas green forages and dry forages supply NDF and ADF. And another source is grain byproducts like bran, etc. These are also the sources of carbohydrates for ruminants. So one more thing what we need to remember is that the sudden intake of starchy feeds leads to decrease in rumen pH from 6.5 to 6.7 to 5.5 or below, causing a condition called rumen acidosis in ruminants, which is associated with excess engorgement of starchy carbohydrates. So after carbohydrates, second important component of macronutrient in ruminants is protein, so which is expressed as crude protein. So nitrogen multiplied by 6.25 is known as crude protein, comprising of both true protein as well as non-protein nitrogen. Animals have the typical requirement of amino acids rather than protein per se. So the requirement of protein for ruminants is expressed in the form of both for maintenance as well as milk production. The maintenance requirement is generally expressed as 1 gram of crude protein per kg body weight, whereas milk production requirement is approximately 100 gram of crude protein for every kg of milk production. So put together we can say that the total protein requirement is the sum of maintenance as well as production requirement. Dietary crude protein for ruminant is divided into two major fractions. One is known as rumen degradable protein, roughly required in level of 60% of total protein requirement. Second component is rumen undegradable protein, also known as bypass protein or rumen escape protein, which is required at 40% of the total protein requirements. So ruminally synthesized microbial protein in ruminants generally fulfills up to 70 to 100% of the total protein requirements in ruminants. So what is the protein requirement for a typical ruminant ration? In a lactating ration, we can say that the protein requirement ranges between a broad range of 14 to 19% depending on the level of productivity as well as stage of the lactation. And excess dietary crude protein in the diet is not economical as well as not beneficial to the ruminant as such. And the sources of protein for ruminants include oilseed cakes and meals, examples being mustard cake, soybean meal, cottonseed cake, sunflower cake, linseed cake, etc. So after carbohydrates and protein, so let us move to the fats and lipid portion of the macronutrients, generally expressed as the ether extract component of the diet. Fats provide concentrated sources of energy which is greater than 2.25 times that of both carbohydrates as well as proteins. And ruminant ration generally contains about 4 to 6% of the ether extract on dry basis. Free oils and unsaturated fatty acids should be limited or avoided in ruminant rations as these are known to be toxic to rumen bacteria, thereby causing inhibition in the fiber digestion. So to avoid this, so we can go for rumen protected or rumen bypass or inert fats, so which is typically used in the diet of high yielding, high milk producing cows. So what are the typical sources of fats or lipids for ruminants? So the typical sources include oil seeds. So one best example is full fat soybean containing about 18% of the oil. Second most commonly used fat source or oil source of vegetable origin is whole cotton seed comprising of 16% of ether extract. Other sources, common sources include rice bran or rice polish containing approximately 16 to 20% of the oil. And most common source is bypass fat, so that contains about 83 to 84% to as much as 99% of the total fat in product. So after completing macronutrients, that is carbohydrates, protein and fat, let us move to the micronutrients. So one important micronutrient is mineral. So as the name itself indicates, mineral means it is an inorganic component of the ruminant ration. So broadly classified as macro minerals as well as micro minerals. So as the name here again indicates, macro referring to those minerals which are required in macro quantity or in larger quantity, expressed in the form of either gram or kilograms. So there are 7 typical macro minerals required for ruminants that include calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, sulfur, sodium and chlorine. On the other hand, micro minerals are also known as trace minerals, which are required in milligrams or micrograms in ruminant ration. Examples being zinc, copper, manganese, iron, cobalt, iodine, selenium, chromium, molybdenum, fluorine, etc. So what are the typical functions of minerals in animal body? So broadly, the physiological functions of the minerals are classified into 4 major headings. So one is structural functions of the minerals, so involved in the body tissues and organs. Examples being calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sulfur, etc., which are the components of bone, tendons and skeleton of the body. Second function of the mineral is in the body is catalytic function, acting as a cofactor and coenzymes in various metabolic processes. Examples being zinc, copper, manganese, iron, selenium, etc. Third major function of the mineral is physiological, so in the form of components of body fluids as electrolytes. Examples being sodium, chloride, potassium, calcium, etc. And the final role of mineral is in regulatory functions, with the examples of calcium, zinc, etc., having their typical roles in cell division, hormone action, as well as gene expression in the body. Next component of micronutrient is vitamins, so which are essentially the organic components of the ruminant ration. So unlike minerals, which are inorganic components, whereas vitamins are organic in nature. Broadly, vitamins are classified into fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. So fat-soluble vitamins being vitamin A, D2, D3, E as well as vitamin K, with their chemical name listed in the right side. So vitamin A is known as retinol, D2 is known as ergocalciferol, D3 is known as cholecalciferol, vitamin E is known as tocopherol, and vitamin K is known as phylloquinone. Similarly, in case of water-soluble vitamins, we have broadly 2 classification. One is B-complex vitamins with various sub-classification of B-complex, and the second one is vitamin C, that is known as ascorbic acid. So one important component, one important point in vitamin nutrition of the ruminant is that ruminants can synthesize all of the B-complex vitamins in their rumen, that is first compartment of the complex ruminant stomach. So in this way we can say that when rumen fermentation is optimum, so typically ruminants have no dietary requirement for any B complex, or we don't need any B complex supplementation for ruminants under ideal conditions. So apart from minerals and vitamins, we also have some another component of micronutrient that is known as feed additives and supplements. As the name itself indicates, feed additive means it which is non-nutritive component of the ration, whereas supplement is known as basically nutritive component of the ration, which are added over and above to the basal diet. So examples being bypass nutrients, which are examples being methionine, lysine and choline. Yeast, that is most commonly used yeast in ruminant is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Organic minerals like glycinates, propionate, methionate, etc., having maximum bioavailability compared to their inorganic counterparts. Other feed additives include toxin binders to bind various kinds of toxins like mycotoxin, pesticides, etc. Slow release nitrogen compounds having concentrated source of nitrogen, and vitamin also. And another component of micronutrients or additive component, digestion enhancers, for example, fibrolytic enzymes, etc. So the overall benefits of feed additives and supplements for ruminants include improved production performance through enhanced feed utilization, improved or better efficiency because of the improved nutrient utilization, thereby ultimately resulting into augmented production and profitability in livestock enterprises. In addition to the macronutrients and micronutrients, we also have water as an essential nutrient. So, as we know that water is an important constituent of the animal diet, which helps in digestion, absorption, nutrient transport as well as excretion, besides having many other vital functions in the body. The adult cattle has about 55 to 65% of the water in its body, with 70% of it in intracellular form and remaining 30% being extracellular fluid. Water content of the milk is 87%, whereas that of feces of cattle and buffalo is approximately 80%. So, with this data, we can estimate the significance of water as a nutrient in animals. See, what are the sources of the water for livestock? So, primary source of water for livestock is drinking water, whereas minor sources is feedstuffs in the form of succulent forages and silages having about 65% or more of the moisture. And drinking water, which is the major component of major source of water for ruminants, and extremely minor source of the water is metabolic or oxidation water, which is produced as the end product of oxidation of nutrients like glucose, starch and protein and fat, yielding 60%, 56%, 40% and 107% of water respectively. So, let us take up the water requirements of the livestock. So, you can see the table describing water requirement of various species of animals. Like adult cattle requires approximately 30 liters of water on an average. So, having the dry matter intake to water consumption ratio of 1:3 to 3.5. Similarly, adult buffalo is having 40 liters of water requirement. Dairy calves will have 2 to 4 liters of water requirement. Sheep and goats, small ruminants, have 4 to 6 liters of water requirement per day. Swine or pigs require typically 6 to 8 liters, whereas poultry and rabbits require 250 ml of the water per day with dry matter intake to water consumption ratio of 1:2. So, in addition, it needs to be remembered that water requirement will be greater in high yielding animals as well as during summer stress. And it needs to be remembered that always we should provide clean drinking water on free choice or ad libitum basis all the time in a period of 24 hours. So, with this brief discussion, we have come to the conclusion. So, we can conclude that there are various macro and micronutrients that are essential for livestock for performing various physiological functions. And each nutrient has its own significance in the body. Therefore, providing optimum nutrients in a balanced diet appears to be the key to unlock production performance of livestock. And for further reading, I would recommend the participants to refer these 5 reference materials. One is Animal Nutrition Textbook by MacDonald. Second one is Nutritional Ecology of the Ruminant by P.J. Vansworst. Principles of Animal Nutrition and Feed Technology by D.V. Reddy. A textbook of Animal Husbandry by G.C. Banerjee. And Feed Additives and Supplements for Ruminants by M.S. Mahesh and V.K. Yata. So, thank you all of you for your attention.